Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, we're going to give you the latest update on the backstage argument between AEW's MJF and Tony Khan. We're also going to let you know about the two ex-WWE stars that AEW is reportedly interested in. And on top of that, we've got an update on Miro. But before all of that, we're going to go into a little bit more on MJF's frustrations, contract-wise, money-wise, in AEW. I'm Andy Murray.
I'm Michael Sidgwick.
Adam Wilborn is flying to Texas for some reason, and this is the news. Right, we're going to kick things off by talking about frustrated old MJF and his silly sausage contract here. This is a report coming through. It's Sean Ross Sapp actually kind of following up on the situation we spoke about yesterday, and we'll speak about more as part of our second story here. The argument, the big kerfuffle, the makeup, all of that stuff. But in the original report, Fightful Select noted that MJF had actually been a bit frustrated about his AEW contract. Well, on Fightful's Backstage Report podcast, Sean Ross Sapp has elaborated on that a little bit. And yeah, it's a money issue. It's a money issue. MJF, the 26-year-old rising star of pro wrestling, I mean, he's already one of the biggest stars in AEW, but he's going to be even bigger in a few years, of course. Wants to be paid a little more. Understandable. Who doesn't want to be paid a little bit more? Several people who have come into the promotion are apparently on higher pay scales than him. That's caused a little bit of frustration. Now, as of right now, AEW haven't budged on the matter. MJF said to Ariel Helwani that he wasn't going to sign a new contract before his current deal expires unless it's an astronomical amount. But parsing the work and the shoot from these things is quite difficult, especially with MJF. Now, it's noted here that Tony Khan doesn't have any kind of issue with MJF, and it's reiterated that, again, while MJF spoke openly about his contract status in the Helwani interview, that wasn't the issue. It was, we'll talk about that. But yes, what do you reckon of this, Michael? Does MJF deserve a bigger wedge?
Yes, absolutely. We're not privy to exact specific salaries as wrestling critics, reporters, whatever. It's a very murky, it's a very murky area. But like, without naming names, because we don't know the names to name, but it stands to reason that MJF, who in 2019 was nowhere near the level of star that he is now, of course, very promising. He's since realised that promise, but he wasn't one of the biggest stars or free agents in all of professional wrestling. Fast forward 2 years, 2021, AEW did sign a raft of the biggest free agents to the delight of most everyone, around about, let's say, the summer and fall of 2021. We know realistically that these people are going to be on more money than MJF, but I will ask a question to you, Murray, and I think you know the answer. With all due respect to Hangman Page, if you look at the ratings and the pay-per-view buys, and I love Hangman Page, his reign so far has been a critical and commercial success. Who sold Revolution 2022 on pay-per-view, in your opinion?
Chick Magnet Punk, baby.
Chick Magnet Punk and MJF. MJF kills his quarter hours. He's in a singles match on virtually every single, if not every single pay-per-view, at least from 2020 onwards. He's a franchise player for that organisation. His episodic TV work is captivating, hence why he draws these numbers. He's a great storyteller, great in-ring wrestler, phenomenal promo. He deserves to be on as much as anyone in that promotion, I would say. Literally anyone, so I can understand why this news has surfaced.
Completely agree on every single level. And also, he's still about 10 years away from his theoretical prime as well. Crazy stuff.
He's an investment.
Exactly.
Look, the rights fees are going to get renegotiated very swiftly. I understand why they don't want to budge, because if one person asks for a pay rise, this will happen quite often. But if anyone deserves it, in my opinion, it is Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And they might say something to the effect of, look, hopefully more money will roll in imminently. A lot of it will or should go to you.
Absolutely. On our second story of the day, we're going to follow up on yesterday's. You want to know the ins and outs of the backstage argument that was quickly cleared up by the sounds of things. Check out yesterday's video. But Fightful Select have updated their original report on the matter. They broke it, effectively confirming Dave Meltzer, who had said, yeah, I mean, the beef is settled. It's fine, lads, it's fine. Stating that a smoother conversation between Tony Khan and MJF took place, of course, following the Ariel Helwani interview. The issue, again, doesn't come from Tony's standpoint. He's not pissed off at the content. He's not pissed off at MJF talking about his contract and stuff. He's just a bit annoyed that it wasn't cleared with AEW's PR team. He doesn't want to set that precedent. They note here that a wrestler can just organise their own thing without clearing it there. MJF's frustration does come from the contractual side of it, which we've just broken come down a little bit. People within AEW have indicated, however, that the two do enjoy a good relationship. They've become good friends since AEW came together. I suspect that this was the kind of conversation that happens every single week in wrestling promotions and just never goes public. But hey, we're here to break it down. We're here to analyze it. Water under the bridge or something bigger?
I've got no idea, to be perfectly honest.
Sorry, that was a hospital pass.
Yeah, absolutely. Ultimately, like, I'm not one of these weird, extremely online guys who stands for multi-millionaires and wants them to earn an extra zero on their contract. Like, it doesn't really bother me that much. These people do have mouths to feed, and they feed them plenty well as it is. It's just a case of more money for rich people. It's not something that really bothers me. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this makes for really interesting pro wrestling content because we spent, what, almost 2 decades watching pro wrestlers under the thumb of the monopoly doing what they were told and getting paid how much they were told to get. But if agency's good, it creates a news cycle, it creates drama, it creates crazy jumps like Cody to WWE, which is going to be fascinating at the very least. So more of this.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of things we need more of, he's not here today, but it's time for me to do Wilborn stuff. That's what he does. He does that gimmick. He
does lots of gimmicks, doesn't he?
He really does. Do you like beer, guys? Because if you do, we've made one, and it's really nice. We have a can of it somewhere over here. There we go. Stretch Armstrong over here. It's called Clickbait Thumbnail, mate. So you can't say anything in the comment section anymore. It's got some lovely yellow arrows, as you can see. It's a delicious, it's a really smooth IPA. You could probably drink about 7 of these in a row.
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
It's deceptively sessionable in taste. It's very nice, but be very careful, I think, if you have a session on it, because it's 5.3. It's not the ultimate strong beer, but ultimately it tastes so nice that you want to be a little bit careful. You should drink responsibly, at the best of times. But particularly with this bad boy, so tropical, so smooth, so quaffable.
I'm looking forward to
quaffable.
The warm weather hitting in particular, because a chilled one of these bad boys will be delicious. But if you want to pick this up, you're in the UK, link in the comments, link in the description, not the comment section, down below. It's available as part of our WrestleMania crate with our friends over at Top Rope Brewing. And if you buy that crate and you put in "Here's Why" as the promo code, you can get free shipping in the UK. Hell of a beer. You're going to get a bunch of other delicious ones from the Top Rope range. They are a sensational craft beer company. I've been drinking them since long before we entered this partnership with them. I am being a shill on this video because that's my job, but I would do this regardless because it's just a genuinely very nice group of beers that this company puts out. Check them out, link below. News. Next story today talks about the 2 former AEW stars that, 2 former WWE stars that AEW is interested in. Fightful Select coming through with a report yesterday talking about a bunch of people. With regards to AEW, we are talking about Toni Storm and the former Ember Moon Athena. Now, Toni Storm appears to have the stronger link here to AEW, who apparently have a significant desire to get hold of her. Some people on the roster expect her to show up at some point, in fact, and a number of wrestlers currently working for AEW have been pushing for the promotion to snap her up. Now, with Athena, it's not quite as advanced. The talks between them, light talks, it says here, have been described as a feeling out process. They're trying to gauge interest, although there's currently no word on whether or not she will end up in AEW, and there's not a great deal of urgency, according to the report, to get that deal done. Now, we're not going to speculate on the mystery woman that's going to be on this week's show. We'll do that in the Twitter questions.
Stick around
for that one. But yeah, what do you reckon of these 2 potential additions, Michael?
I think they are both incredibly likable and accomplished babyface wrestlers. Pro wrestling can never have enough of them. I think that they need their auras and their sort of reputations rehabilitated somewhat because they were crushed, as so many independent contractors are, underneath the WWE machine. My only misgivings, and this applies to both women, who again, in the ring on their best days, are outstanding pro wrestlers. But my only misgiving is that neither woman is particularly great at cutting a promo. Both performers at times can... It's harsh, right? But I'm going to explain this. Both performers can kind of veer on the cringe, if I'm being absolutely perfectly honest, right? However, you never know where the cringe of the performer ends and the cringe of the scripted promo begins in WWE. Like, I was cringing at Dean Ambrose, for Christ's sake, in WWE, much less, you know, Ember Moon and Toni Storm. In the more fixture-heavy in-ring approach of All Elite Wrestling, we might see, they'll have to promote matches, obviously, but this can be accomplished via sound bites, pre-tapes. They don't have to go out there with a script that they are clearly uncomfortable speaking, like, sort of reading about. So yeah, as long as they are sort of minimised in the promo game, allowed to just connect with themselves, with their own personalities to the audience, that cringe factor might diminish in AEW.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. Like when you make points like that, a lot of people often go, but you dive into the reasons behind them, especially.
It's hard as well. I just completely botched that.
No, it's all good, baby. We don't do scripts here. We sort of do, but not on these. Jon Moxley's the perfect comparison point because Dean Ambrose absolutely sucked in those last few years. Now Jon Moxley is absolutely great. Differences, the material handed to them, the freedom they have, the ability they have to be themselves. I echo you 100%. I think both are extremely talented, particularly between the ropes. Looking forward to seeing what they can do if they come in. Athena's wrestled a couple of indie dates for Warrior Wrestling. I did watch her 30-minute draw with Thunder Rosa. It's worth checking out if you've not seen it. But yeah, very interested in following their career paths going forward. Now we've got not the most detailed story. Not going to take us a long time here. Miro, where's he at? He's shooting. I almost said he's shooting a porn. He's shooting a pilot. That'll be weird given the photo he's got here of him and a dog. Strange. But no, Miro is
just accusing him of
shagging and pooch. Yeah.
He's not doing that. He's absolutely not doing that.
He's not doing that. This is his beloved pet in this photo on his Twitter, right? He's shooting a pilot for something. He's in speaking of botching stuff, this story, he's in Brooklyn, New York. Gonna be there for a few weeks. He revealed as much on Twitter and on Instagram, so that will presumably hold him up from appearing on AEW for a while. What yet? He's been away since November. Injuries, you know the reasons. He's been cleared for a while, waiting for creative. Now he's shooting this thing. Sounds like it'll be a while. I miss him. I think he's tremendous. I think quietly, well, not even quietly, quite loudly, he was one of the most complete guys in all of AEW before his departure. Can't wait to have him back. Looking forward to seeing whatever this pilot is of. I know it's not dog sex.
Usually, right, when I read a report or watch a report and the report involves pro wrestler does acting or TV or film gig, I go, right, cool, who cares? Because the vast majority of them are absolutely terrible at it. They're very low budget. You never really hear about them when they're finished more often than not. However, Miro is such a great character wrestler. As you said, it's such a good complete wrestler in terms of his body language, his in-ring game, his promos. Seriously, they should get him as a screenwriter.
Yeah.
His sound bites, like particularly during the feud with Eddie Kingston, was so incredible in isolation. This guy printed 1 million t-shirts. Like, they should have him as a screenwriter. That's how good of a promo in that specific vein he is.
I love him as well. He's sensational, and we miss him.
And he does not repeat bum dogs.
Yes. He's not Roy Keane, allegedly. Anyway.
Shut up!
That was a football thing, wasn't it? Newcastle fans, I don't know. It's probably a joke. I like Roy Keane. I think he's the best curmudgeon in football.
Yes, me too. I love him.
Legend. Anyway, Twitter questions. Our first one comes today from Bees. Shoutouts to Bees, who asks the following, and this is a belter. If you could choose any wrestler, current or former, to sit next to Wilborn on the flight to Texas, who would you choose and why? I'm going to let you pick this one first.
Like, we all like Wilborn to an extent.
To an extent?
He is a bit of a twat. He can be incredibly annoying. No, I love him, but he is like
he's the greatest of all time.
He's the greatest of all time, but he does this bit in the office at times where he does annoying on purpose, and it's like by 3 o'clock you're like, right, I'm ready to go home. From my dream job of all places. So who is the best guy to be annoyed in pro wrestling? That's the angle I want to take with this.
That's a great shout.
And I don't know off the top of my head. Obviously the comments can help me out with this. Who's the most easily prone to anger? Taz.
But oh my goodness, yeah.
Taz is phenomenal when his temper's short.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Wilborn next to Taz, it would be absolutely. I smell a sitcom.
Also, like if you're sitting next to Taz on the flight, it could go one of two ways. If you annoy him, you're absolutely screwed. But if you get on with him, it's going to be sensational.
Absolute banter.
He's going to put one of his earphones in your ear so you can listen to Freak on a Leash with him. It's going to be good stuff across the board.
It's a perfect way to spend a Saturday morning. We know this.
It is. I've gone the opposite route and gone for people who would annoy Wilborn. So in character, Sami Zayn, he wouldn't shut up. He'd try to listen to music, try to read a book. Sami Zayn would yap, it's playing as a conspiracy. It's made out of carrots. And also, how about the Fiend? Why not? The flipping Fiend. Imagine him messing with the lights. Fiend, you've turned my airplane food into goo. What you do? Oh, well, that's probably an improvement.
What does the Fiend listen to on his earbuds on an aeroplane?
That's a great question. Mushroom Head, I think. Or Mudvayne.
Mudvayne. That Mudvayne was going to be mine.
Dig in particular.
I think he likes a bit of Cold Chamber as well.
Oh, he's loco, so of course he likes Cold Chamber.
That should be his indie theme.
It's the Fiend, Miro, go. Oh my god, right? New metal rules. Our second question today comes from Switchblade Kai, who asks, good morning, legends. With AEW announcing the Owen Hart qualifiers for the coming weeks, who do you think will be a new signing and whom do you want to win both cups? Obviously, we have the mystery opponent for the Bunny this week, but broader, what do you reckon?
Right, a babyface has to win this.
Sure.
Like, a babyface absolutely has to win this. So on the men's bracket, Eddie Kingston
Great.
needs to win something because he deserves the world. He's an absolutely incredible bloke, an incredible pro wrestler, and the way to do something tangible that he can hang his hat on has been absolutely excruciating for himself and a lot of his fans, so he could absolutely win it. And he's established, he's a sentimental guy. On the women's bracket, there's a lot of talk about, and it still persists, like into 2022, about the women's division and the lack of success and the lack of prominence, especially relative to the men's and the tags even. You could answer a lot of those questions quite cheekily if you fast track a new signing right from the jump, give her something material to win, establish her as an instant game changer. Give it Toni Storm.
Toni Storm, sensational.
Such a good baby face in the ring as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If I was going to go for a new signing winning the women's tournament, that's exactly how I'd go. If I was going to go for a contracted person winning, it would be Serena Deeb. Very appropriate. Obviously, very influenced by.
That's one of the
Hearts.
heels you can get away with as well. That's a great point.
Exactly, because like everyone appreciates the work and it's tremendous. On the male side, for a new signing, Jonathan Gresham. Best technical wrestler on planet Earth, if you ask me. He's seemingly halfway in the door already. Just makes sense. Final question of the day. Well, not the day. We've got a second video with WWE news coming after this one. Ace McLeod asks, and this is a belter, if the WhatCulture and his examples, their examples go from kind of inappropriate to very appropriate here. If the WhatCulture team was an AEW star, who would you be? I have Hamflet with Mox energy. I'm not sure about that one, my friend. Sidgwick as Pac.
Makes sense.
I like that on a lot of levels. Precise and angry. My two favourite traits in Geordies. And Wilborn has to be Alex Abrahantes.
What a burial.
Imagine showing up with that little cloak in the face paint going, yeah, big guy. Have you got anyone else?
Andy Murray is the Butcher.
Oh, chaotic energy.
Just chaotic energy with like way more craft than even he himself gives himself credit for, but a wonderful man.
Oh, thank you.
But a very bumbling chaos is our nickname, and that's his nickname in the office.
I throw smaller men downstairs as well, so there you go.
Absolutely. Nicholas, Ricky Starks.
Oh, 100%. Sexiest man, coolest man, just very aspirational.
Phil, Marco Stunt.
Oh my goodness, because he's wiry and takes bumps like a champ, presumably.
Who else works for us?
What else we got? Who are we giving Adam Cleary to? Oh, let's go with Wardlow. Why not?
For a few reasons.
Yeah, he's massive.
Yeah.
Very handsome, though. That's a shared trait.
Cleary is like a really slick operator.
He is.
A guy who makes connections. So... who's making connections?
Andrade. There we go. There we go. Sexy man, good at his job, makes connections, looks good in a suit, maybe. I don't know.
I've actually, unfortunately, because he's got an absolute skyscraper of an ego, I've seen Adam Cleary on Instagram wearing a suit, and god damn it, he suits it.
He's an absolute beast. We've got a lot of sexy men in this office, which is why they get the two ugliest pricks to do the news video. Only joking, this is DJ Vinny Vibes. Look at that shirt. Anyway.
Look at the watch.
We're going to look at the watch. I think beeps every hour. It's an absolute
I don't know how to turn it off.
Right, we'll be back for part 2 of this news voyage later on. WWE stories coming through. Thank you for joining us on this one. Hope it wasn't too messy without Willy Wilborn. But you can follow us on Twitter at WhatCultureWW. That's where you can send your Twitter questions. You can follow Michael on Twitter at
M. Sidgwick.
And you can follow me at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Hamish. We're missing Susie. And if you get that reference, I am your friend. Goodbye.